Hey, what is up guys? Joshua Spoosers here with a new Digimon video. This time I'm actually gonna be commentating over the very first Digimon match I played basically, which will be the purple Rookie Rush deck featuring Piedmon and Diaboromon on the left versus a black Diaboromon deck splashed in with basically the blocker part of the black engine with cards like Toy Agumon, Guardromon, Gatsumon, Andromon, and the black Wargreymon, which all resolve around the blocker mechanic combined with reboot, etc. And then the purple decks, of course, basically just focus on putting a lot of small Digimon on the battle area to finish up the game as quickly as possible. You'll see here that purple wins the die roll, so purple has to start. And he's gonna start off with the in training Yamon, which is actually, I think, the worst Digidama to start with in the deck, since the Pagumon gives a mill for 1 on attack, while the Yamon gives 1000 DP, which can be relevant, of course. Then he's gonna Digivolve into the Impmon, as you see here. And then he's probably thinking about which other rookie he's gonna drop. Or maybe he's gonna drop something like a Raremon. Yeah, he drops the Raremon here. He plays it, so he gives the other deck a lot of memory by doing so. But he probably was hoping to hit something like a Trump Sword or the Night Raid. It's my turn. I start off with the in-training version of the Diaboromon. Digivolving into Toy Agumon and then into a Greymon, basically setting up for the Wargreymon line of plays here instead of the Diaboromon, which would be optimal with this particular Digidama. And I also have the Metal Greymon, so I'm really setting up for the security tech +1 with the black Wargreymon here. And then I end up just playing the Gatsumon, since I think basically black is not one of the better decks in the current format, I think, but in particular it does have a pretty decent matchup against the purple Rookie Rush deck in particular, just because the blockers make it really hard for the Rookie Rush to go into its strategy where it just starts to beat down as quickly as possible. So he's gonna move his Impmon to the battle area. That he's just gonna play the Tapirmon, which is one of the best rookies in purple, I think, since it's on the Legion. It will allow you to draw a card, so when it basically self-destructs into the security, you still get a draw to get deeper into the deck, which is pretty good. Here he's just considering his place. It seems he's like oh, you might notice a proxy in his hand, which is actually a Bielsamon, because we didn't get a full set out of those from our 6 boxes actually. So the purple deck's playing 2 proxies, I think. One is Bielsamon and one for Paimon, and then the black deck's not playing any proxies. In the end, he decides not to drop the Bielsamon or attack with the Realmon and just play another Devimon and pass the turn back to me. So I raise the Metal Greymon, which actually has jamming at this point, I think, because of the inheritable effect of the Greymon. Since it has reboot from its own effect, that's pretty good. It's gonna hit the Myotismon, which would usually destroy it, but in this case, since it has jamming, it doesn't. Which is why I can freely swing for the security without being scared of much, except maybe the Trump Sword. Then I'm gonna just play the Guardromon, which is again pretty good because it shuts off the main strategy of the purple deck. Purple's gonna hatch Pagumon, which is the only Digidama still in his Digidama deck, and then he's gonna evolve into Gabumon, which has a pretty good inheritable effect on its own, which might come into play later. It's a little bit like Tapirmon, where it just has it in this case it grants a really good effect to the Digimon that gets deleted, where I think you draw 2 and then discard 1. So it doesn't really matter if the Digimon swings into a high security Digimon. Here you see that's why he's just gonna swing with the Tapirmon. Like if I decide to block with the Gutsumon, then he still gets to draw a card and just get deeper into the deck to get more options. I do decide to block with the Gutsumon. Just because in case he wants to swing over it with the Raremon, I still have the Guardromon to block it. Now he's probably considering dropping the Beelzemon, but he has only 6 cards in his discard pile, I think. So that's not an option right now, since you do need 10 cards to Digivolve the Impon into the Beelzemon right away. I think he's probably just gonna play another rookie here. Yeah, just a new Tapirmon, which puts him on 0 memory. Like ideally, you would always put your opponent on 1 memory, which is why I think the Med is really insane in the purple deck. Oh, and then he's gonna Trump Sword me on the Metal Greymon, which does put me on a lot of memory, but it does remove my only proper attacking Digimon, which will of course be a problem staring down his field of 4 Digimon. Even though I do have 2 blockers, I'm not in a terrible position, since if I want to, I can block 2 of his attacks and also destroy his Digimon in the process, which is pretty good. I'm gonna hedge another of the Digitama, the one that grants, I think it's 1000 DP when you have a Digimon with the same name in play, which is of course synergizes really well with the Diaboromon effects. I'm not actually sure if I even get to drop Diaboromon in this game, but we'll see. Yeah, I have the reboot Toy Agumon again. Well, it doesn't reboot itself, but it grants reboot to the Digimon on top of it, and I go into Greymon again, basically setting up the same line as before. I have so much memory to work with, so at this point I'm just considering my options. It's possible to go a little bit more aggro by just playing some stronger Digimon here. Or maybe play another blocker. I'm gonna go into the Inframon, so we might actually see a Diaboromon coming up. Since Inframon actually says you can Digivolve Diaboromon for 1 less cost. So it would be 4 normally, but with the Inframon it will be 3. Then I'm just gonna summon another another blocker, another Gatsumon, which puts him on 1 memory, which is basically optimal at any point. Then he's gonna raise the Gabumon and swing again with the Tapirmon. The Tapirmon is just so strong. He's gonna run into the Numamon, and he's gonna draw a card. Numamon is really interesting. It's really good early game. When you start, you can just go rookie, then summon the Numamon. Then you can Digivolve to the Numamon for just 1, draw a card, and your opponent has 1 memory to play with. Which is basically the only reason why I'm playing it, and also there's just obviously a lack of black options right now. Pretty much there's just a lack of options for all the decks except for the colors that have structured decks at this moment, even though I still think purple is one of the best decks, just because the cards they do have access to are really, really powerful. And the strategy is just really solid, just swing with a bunch of little guys before your opponent can enter the late game. He's just gonna drop another Tapirmon, since at this point, with it doesn't matter what he attacks with, I can just block it. Then he just loses his Digimon. Then I'm gonna raise the Inframon. So it's pretty interesting, like we're a lot of turns have passed. I still have 4 security left, and I think so does the purple deck. Just because I attack with the there we go, I dropped the War Greymon Black, which has reboot and blocker. And I think because the Greymon's underrated, also has jamming, so that's really good. And then I put him on 1 memory. Basically, this situation is exactly why the black deck is so good versus the purple deck, just because he has all these rookies on the board, but basically he has to sacrifice all of them if he even wants to attempt to attack all my security. Like he has to summon so many of them to actually get a chance at hitting my security, because at this point I have 4 blockers on the field and he can't beat any of them. Sadly, the Greymon doesn't get to come into actual action because I get Trump sorted again. That card is the bane of my existence in this game. Yeah, I jumped the Greymon, which is really good. Also synergized really good with the Diaboromon, of course. And then I go into the Grisalimon, which actually the effect isn't that good. It grants an additional memory if you as an inheritable effect if you play in another Digimon with the same name. So when Diaboromon spawns a token with its own effect, you get an additional memory, which is fine. But the Greymon is slightly better, I think, because it lets you actually draw a card when you do that. So at this point, I'm just gonna play the Metal Greymon. Then I'm gonna evolve into the Greymon. Then I'm gonna evolve into the Metal Greymon. I actually think this this was illegal looking back at it, because I think I just paid. I'm not sure if I saw it correctly, but I think I just paid 2 to play the Greymon, which should have been 4. So then I would have just passed on the Greymon. But I'm not sure if I saw it correctly. Again, this was literally like one of the first matches we played, so there might be some errors. Oh, he's just gonna play the mat, add back the Trump sword, put me on 3. I'm gonna promote the Grisalimon, raise it. I will probably take a jab at this security again this turn with the Metal Greymon, since it does have jamming at this point because of the inheritable effect of the Greymon. And he doesn't have any blocker, so it's just gonna happen. I again hit the Mathijs, same as last time, and same as last time, the Metal Greymon stays on the field. So I think you saw me. Yeah, I go for the Caramon, just play it just to up the pressure, so I can finally maybe even get rid of all his security next turn. Because I do have 5 Digimon to attack with. I still have some memory left. I'm just gonna Digivolve into the Greymon to draw a card, increase my options, and then, yeah. Then this is why I think the Mat is so good. I would have left him on 2 security, but then because of the Mat, he just starts his turn with 3. Which just increases the options a lot. I think the purple deck draw the Lilithmon here, which is also really good in my opinion. And now he's thinking about the proxy card, which is the Beelzemon, which would be pretty good since it would get rid of one of my Digimon with the on Digivolve effect. So he's probably just counting here if he has enough of in his discard pile. I think he does, I'm not 100% sure. And also he has, oh yeah, he does have the Lilithmon, but he has no way to play it. So I think basically the options are, if he will start, maybe he does have to swing with one of the, oh yeah, so he's gonna swing with one of the rookies probably just to get more cards in the discard pile. So maybe he doesn't have 10. Then he's gonna mill one because of the Piedmon inheritable effect. I'm thinking, so since the Demi-Devimon has 3000 DP, I'm gonna block it with the Guardromon, which has 7000 DP, because I don't want to lose my Gotsumon. And also at this point he doesn't have any Digimon who can attack over the Guardromon anyway while it's suspended. So that seems like a pretty solid play, but of course he was just setting up to go into the Beelzemon, which will also leave me at 1 memory for my next turn. But I think he probably has to play the Trump sword just because he just loses if he doesn't do that. Now you can do either the Trump Sword or the Bielsmon. I guess the Bielsmon is just better, since this would put me on less memory. And even then, that also means I won't be able to attack with one of the Gutsumon, since they require me to pay 2 memory to attack. Yeah, there we go. He's gonna Digivolve into the Bielsmon, leaving me on 1 memory, and then he's just gonna think about what he's gonna hit with its Digivolve effect. So basically, I think at this point the black deck is just has a huge advantage, and it will be really hard for the purple deck to come back. But despite this game, I feel the purple deck is probably a lot better than the black deck. It just happens to be a really bad matchup, and you'll probably see, like, in game 2 and 3, which I will be uploading later, why the purple deck is a lot better. It's just inherently really powerful and really consistent. Oh, he does end up choosing to destroy the Gardevoir here. I'm gonna hatch another 2-in-1. Then probably I'll just start swinging. I'll go into the Toy Agumon first. And then to play around the Trump Sword, it's probably best to attack with the Metal Greymon first. You'll also see purple just fail to properly set up in this one. Like, he didn't get access to any Viawamon. He didn't get to drop Piedmon. I attack into another Myodismon. That's pretty funny. That's the 3rd one the Metal Greymon runs into. So literally all of his security at this point have been Myodismon. Yeah. I'm just gonna start swinging. Grisalimon run into Devimon, so Grisalimon gets destroyed. But it shouldn't matter, since I still have 3 Digimon who can attack. And he only has 1 security, so even if I do hit a Trump Sword at this point, it's irrelevant. Now I'm gonna hit a Nitrate, which would be good, since he gets to summon back one of his Digimon. But the Tapirmon is obviously not gonna save it. Then I'm gonna evolve into the Nuamon to style on him. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did, and what other decks you would like to see, and I'll try to get some videos up of those as well. And hold on tight for the next gameplay video of the purple versus black match I have for you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.